time once again for GamePoints to bring in the expert. RotoWire.com senior editor Jeff Erickson here to teach you more than what you learn at that fancy school of yours. So take the crayons out of your ears, shut up, and listen good. Here is Jeff Erickson.
Yes, the longest-running intro here on TSN 990. Our buddy Jeff, you can follow him as well on Twitter.com/Jeff_Erickson. Remember that ID if you have fantasy baseball and football questions. Hey, what's up, Jeff?
Is it really the longest-running intro? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just taking a shot there.
Okay, all right. I was feeling all kind of happy there for a second, but it's all right.
Now, Jeff, happy the Olympics are over?
No, I enjoyed it. Well, yeah, it's fine because there's so many other things going on right now. I mean, baseball pennant races, football preseason, hey, PGA today, a lot going on. But, yeah, I enjoyed the Olympics at the same time.
All right, Jeff, we're going to talk some baseball and some football here on the show. We're sort of transitioning here as people who are out of their baseball pools start to lose a little interest here, I guess. But obviously a lot of playoffs still to come as well for most poolies on the baseball side. But I wanted to get to some football questions as well, namely Peyton Manning. Obviously, getting his first action out of the way in a long time and looked okay. The bottom line is he looked healthy. What does that do for RotoWire's projections, perhaps, as to where he should be taken in a football draft, and how bullish are you on him?
I might be a little tad lower than some other people on him. I mean, he looked okay, like you said. He didn't stand out. Didn't look, he didn't show any, obvious weaknesses either at the same time. I probably have him a little lower than most, partially because my bias against drafting QBs early. I have him at 65 overall. I think our consensus rankings, we just did a set of them on Friday. He came in at 52.
But in terms of how he is against the other quarterbacks, do you have him top 8? Do you have top 6?
In the 8 to 11 range. Okay. I've got him at basically the same pairing with same tier as Tony Romo and Michael Vick.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Mo Khan in studio as well. Mo?
Jeff, looking at the heir apparent in Indianapolis, Andrew Luck today having a fantastic first half for the Colts. Where do you see him going now? A lot of people are asking me, is he worth to be a keeper guy to draft him now and have him for years to come?
Well, yeah, especially if you keep more than one or two players. Yeah, absolutely, I think so. And you'll use them. See, the thing about the Colts is they're going to throw the ball a lot. They're probably going to be behind frequently. I don't think they have that great of a running game, although I do kind of like Donald Brown. But I think he's going to get a lot of attempts, and the fact that he can run a little bit too. It's not just RG3 that can run. I think that he's going to help you a little bit that way too. Maybe get you 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns. So he's not a starting fantasy QB for me right now, but he's definitely in that tier of guys that at the worst is going to be a bye week guy for me.
All right, our intern Stefano, go ahead, Steph.
All right, this is a selfish question, being that it's a Titans-related question.
Okay.
Well, with the uncertainty surrounding Kenny Britt likely facing suspension and plus his knee problems, would Kendall Wright be a good player to pick up?
He's a good guy anyhow in the end game. I don't know if he's going to be their number one. He might not even start. Nate Washington is clearly going to start. Damian Williams might start ahead of him, even if Britt is suspended. But there's a lot of good talent there. And, Tennessee's going to be an interesting team this year because, they could have completely different personnel starting the second half of the season from the first. Jake Locker might not start the year as a starting quarterback, but I bet you he finishes it.
I've never been a fan, Jeff, of the wide receivers in Seattle. Now they bring in Terrell Owens. Mm-hmm. In light of all the stuff off the field, this is going to be a circus regardless, but running a 4.45 in the 40-yard dash to me says, you know what, he can still go long and get it. And if that's the case, what's RotoWire looking at in terms of projections for him based on what you've seen so far as well at the quarterback position?
Well, I've got a side bet with one of my colleagues, Terrell Owens versus Randy Moss, who's going to have the bigger season. I'm on Team T.O. as far as that goes. I like the Seattle offense a little bit better than the San Francisco offense. Both teams are kind of one of those run-first, good defense teams, but I do think that Matt Flynn can air it out a little bit. I think T.O. is a guy that you like your number 4 fantasy 4 wide receiver. You're probably not going to week out start him, but why not take a chance on him as one of your your secondary guys that you want to take later in the part of the draft? We're talking about a guy that's inner circle Hall of Famer in terms of what he does on the field. When he was last playing for the Bengals, he was very productive. He might have been a distraction, but he actually, he was a fantasy asset.
Jeff, to follow up with Marshawn Lynch, of course, he could very well be suspended early, maybe 2, if not 4 games, whatever the number is. Where does he go now in a fantasy draft? Of course, he had a fantastic year last season.
Well, I've seen him fall off a little bit, but the thing about Marshawn Lynch is we don't know when this ruling is going to come down. We don't know, how Goodell is going to rule on this one because the legal process still has to play itself out, and that's been delayed a couple times, as is normal with the legal system. It might be a while till we have a resolution on this, so I'm not discounting him too much. And the thing is, there's really not I guess you could take Robert Turbin as your handcuff, if you will, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary to handcuff here either.
Chatting with Jeff Erickson from RotoWire.com, great fantasy sports outlet out there, also providing, of course, updates for some of the major sports sites out there. Jeff_Erickson on Twitter.com if you want to tweet at him as well. A couple more football-related questions, and then we'll throw some baseball ones at Jeff as well. Jeff, elsewhere in football, any wide receiver or running back rookies that you're really, really looking at and very high on right now coming into this NFL season?
Kind of like Reuben Randall on the Giants. I think there's an opportunity for him to step in. I like running back-wise, Doug Martin. There's been a lot of buzz about him already. Probably he's almost risking being overdrafted at this point in time, but I think it's plausible that he ends up starting over LeGarrette Blount pretty quickly. And if that's the case, he can catch passes too. It might be a timeshare, though. Most NFL offenses these days are timeshares, but I'm watching him carefully. I'm watching Brian Quick in St. Louis also.
Jeff, what about the situation in San Diego? Of course, the running back Matthews gets hurt. What are we looking at there? What are the other options? Where do you rank Matthews and his backups?
Well, Matthews, we put him around 30 or so, and I might downgrade him even farther. It was first announced as a 4 to 6 week injury with that broken clavicle. Now they're saying minimum 6. That scares me a little bit more, and of course his injury history is what it is. It's not like he's the type of guy that's going to come back early from injuries more often than not. So probably pushing him down to the third round, maybe late third round, early fourth round even. They don't have an established backup. Ronnie Brown's there, but I don't think he can be an every down back at this stage of his career. Curtis Brinkley briefly had it last year, got hurt himself. They don't really have that established backup. Jackie Battle's also there. It's another name to throw out. So it could be, a really split up committee there. More of a committee than usually when we're even talking about this. Could be like a 30-30-30, situation where we got 3 different backs splitting it, and then it's just and even LaRon McClain's there too. So I don't know if there's a buying opportunity in his stead.